It's me, Night Spells ASMR, and I'm back with another ASMR video. This time I have something that's pretty obscure, and I'm not sure how many of you are into Dragon Quest or Dragon Quest V, let alone. It's a guidebook for the original Super Famicom version of Dragon Quest V. There were two of these released, and this is volume 1, and I'm not sure what makes them different, but I'm just gonna flip through this and see what we find. Hopefully there's some really cool Akira Toriyama art in this. Let's check it out. So here is the guidebook. It actually has like a metallic bottom part here. We see our young character here when he was a child, and I believe that's Bianca as a child. I think that's the correct name. So it's a decent sized book. It's tiny, but it's pretty thick, if that makes sense. So it looks pretty similar to the Super Famicom side art. Dragon Quest V official guidebook is at 760 yen. Oh, it has oh, okay, so there it had a cover on it. I didn't realize that. So, same thing. I'm assuming this is all Akira Toriyama's art. That's so cute, seeing the cat as a little baby. If you've played the game yet, I might spoil it a little bit, but I'm assuming this is no, it would have been after they went to the haunted castle, because I think they got the cat after that. The contents, I don't know Japanese, so I have no idea what any of this or the contents of this book says. We have a dragon. We could see the world map. I really love how in this game it really seamlessly flows you from one section to another in the game. It's not like you go like all over the place. It's like you start somewhere, but as the story progresses, you slowly make your way around the map, if that makes sense. So this is actually the opening scene in the game when you're on the boat with your father. That's really nice. I wonder if Akira did the art for these, or if he just did the characters. And there's the father. And if you haven't seen my Dragon Quest V unboxing video, I went through the manual, and that was a pretty detailed and thick manual as well, so I wonder how it differs between what's in this guidebook. But it shows you everything that occurs when you first start up the game. It shows you pretty much every single scene casino, because I don't remember that being. You don't see that town until later on. I wonder why they're showing it here. But this town has a casino, and it has an oracle that sort of, if you're lost, it'll tell you sort of like what you need to do, basically. Okay, so this is actually, when you get off the boat, this is where you're at. Sort of to like check in, and you're level 1. And you walk with your dad. It shows it here. This is really nice art, wow. Port of Vista. That's good, it's in English, I can actually read something. It shows you pretty much every single screen that you'll come across when playing. You stumble upon some slimes, and it shows you what each button happens when you press a button. And then your dad shows up, and he sort of helps you kill all the monsters you stumble across. Here we have Go On. Well, it's not Go On, but it looks very, very similar to Go On. Okay, so this is the very first town that you walk into. Santa Rose. That's really nice. Wow. I would have loved to have seen this when I was a kid. This would have just made my imagination go crazy. Seeing the colors like this, playing the game, and then seeing a full illustration of said town in the game. That's almost like watching the Pokemon anime, and it shows the towns in the show that you remember playing through. It was like, whoa, no way. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting right now. Let's see, does it show the cave? It doesn't show it, but there's a cave around here. This is your house right here, I want to say. Behind this house, there's a cabbage patch. So it gives you a little mini map of the town. It shows you what you can buy in the weapons shop. The characters you come across, they almost look like they took the screenshot in composite. It's not very, it kind of has that composite blur to it. Here's going to the church and probably saving the game. Now we have Cave of Santa Rose. So, as a kid, you kind of just wander and end up in the cave. I think you follow your dad into the cave and see what he's up to. You come across these bats. So it shows you a full detail of what they look like, top down. Looks a lot like Pokemon. And now we have the second town that you come across, Alcapa. And I think this is where Bianca's family lives. And this is where you meet the cat. And there's a hotel right here. That's really nice. So there's the baby cat right there. I don't know who that is, but maybe that's Bianca's mom, maybe. actually sneak out with Bianca and you wander through the map and you come across this castle and has ghosts. Look at that illustration. Linul. I definitely needed a guide the first time I played through this castle. It was pretty tricky for me. That's cool to see the whole thing like that. But there's like a lot of like holes in the ground. I don't know if you can see. A lot of holes, so you fall through the ground. I wonder why it already skips to the village of fairies. That happens after the castle. So I guess this guide is probably more of like a dungeon map, maybe. Because it doesn't really, I'm not seeing much about the enemies or the bosses you come across. And it just shows you the different dungeons because there was a lot that happened in that castle. And then after that you stumble upon a branch, a cherry leaf branch, and it takes you to the village of fairies. So you end up in a whole different world. You talk to the fairy queen. And in the village and in the fairy world, you go to a dwarf cave. There's the cat. I keep thinking it's called Torgal, but that's from Final Fantasy 16. But there's a dwarf that you have to meet. He lives there. That's his little house. Oh, look at that. Who is that? It's been a while since I played. I don't remember going to this ice palace with somebody else. But you come here to stop the ice witch. And it's sort of like that place in the dungeon in Pokemon Gold and Silver where you go on the ice and you slide. And so you have to hit a certain rock just to kind of like line it up on where to go next. To go to like the stairs, you have to hit a certain rock. And now we have Rainhat. This is a castle. And I think this is where you meet. Your dad takes you here to befriend the prince who's pretty hyperactive. This guy right here. I guess Akira Toriyama probably designed this character as well. You can see the queen and the prince right there. And so you go out. Relics. You go out and play with the prince. But he gets kidnapped, I want to say. So you have to go and rescue him. And I want to say that this is the dungeon right here where you have to rescue him. And you ride a little raft in the water. And it's quite So, I'm guessing this is sort of like a summary of what's happened and the places you go. Yeah, they actually made a movie about this game. It's called Dragon Quest My Story. I know it's on Netflix, but it has everything we saw pretty much. Everything that we've seen in this book so far. And now we have adult go on. He's grown up. And so you grow up and you end up at this church. Is like the first place you come across after all the events that take place in the game. Right by the ocean. And see, now this is where you come across the casino town, and the Oracle is here. Oracleberry. Yeah, it's like the first like hustle and bustle town I think you really come across in the game. But it has like the monster trainer. Yeah, it has like a night market. The casino. It even has a prison. I forgot which item I was trying to get, but I remember I spent so much time in the casino when I was playing. I kept like doing the trick where you save the game and then you play a bunch, and if you don't win, you just reload your save. Cave of Santa Rosa. You go back to your hometown and you see that it's changed. And I don't think anybody remembers anything about the past. But you go back and you have to find something in the cave that your dad left. And then back to El Capa. There's young Bianca, but I don't think she lives here anymore when you come back. Gate of Rainhead. Oh, Cave of Rainhead. So, you come back with your friend, the prince that was hyper, I want to say. But you have to sneak in, maybe. I need to replay it. I don't remember exactly what you do. But you have to sneak in around the moat. Tower of God. I'm trying to remember what was here at the tower, but I don't remember. Port of Salumi. Okay, I gotta remember this. This is where you hear about an animal that you have to. People in the bar tell you about an animal that's like eating up the crops of a town nearby. So you go and inspect. But there's a lighthouse, and I'm pretty sure there's a boss in this lighthouse. There's quite a cast of characters at this port. Yeah, I don't really remember. Kabochi Village. It's actually a pretty nice village, but everyone here like acts weird. They don't like you should be at when you come to these places. There's our cat, it's all grown up here. Demon's Nest. So, this is a bit of a spoiler, but the town tells you to go take care of the monster that's eating their crops. So, you go to this cave, and at the bottom of the cave, you find the monster, and it turns out that it's your cat. You've both grown up. And then you go back to the town and they're like, what the heck? You brought it here. You brought the cat here. Rule of Fen. I think this is where there's like a scientist of some sort. An inventor, maybe. But he like teaches you a magic spell, I want to say. This guy right here. Rule of Fen. He asks you to go get some ingredients to make his spell, I want to say. And I think that's why you have to go to these places. Rumor Shrine, Tunnel to Sarabana. There's that enemy that you start to see in this area. Here's Sarabana, which has a king and queen, or just a king and a princess, I want to say. There's a tower. But it's like another hustle and bustle town. So, I can't remember what her name is. But you can potentially marry her. And this guy wanted to marry her. But then you step in. Death Volcano, so you have to go to this volcano and complete a challenge, and it gives you the opportunity to, I don't know if it's to save the princess or to get a ring from the princess, maybe. That's cool. Akira Toriyama must have drawn these. It looks so much like his art. Even the background. And so, close to that death volcano, there's actually a small little town. And they have saunas here. Village in the mountains. Oh, it doesn't have a name. And what's cool in the PS2 version, it's like, they're like tree houses. And in this village, you actually stumble across Bianca, but she's all grown up, and she looks like Android 18 as a human. Yeah, it's a nice reunion moment. Waterfall Cave. I think this is actually where you get the other ring in this cave. I'd love to see the waterfall animation in this SNES version. In the Super Famicom version, I mean. So it shows them fighting the water monsters. That's pretty cool. Seal Shrine. know something important happens at the Seal Shrine, but I can't remember. Same with the Desert Shrine. So you have a boat at this point in the game, so you're able to go to faraway lands. Telpador. It's like an oasis town, but it's like a special, it's almost like a castle in the center here. And so this is a queen. She has, or like a witch, but she's able to tell you something important in the story. I really like that character design. But it's really cool. She has like an indoor garden in her castle. King Metal's castle. So this is where you exchange your mini tokens, I want to say. It's cool to see it illustrated like that. There he is. I wonder if Akira Toriyama did this design too. He must have. Ned's Inn. I want to say Ned's Inn is also like a brothel or something. But you're on the different. You end up on the different side of the map. You sail to the opposite side. Mountain path to Chizad. I think at this point you're looking for your mother. At this point, in the PS2 version, this is a pretty big map area. It looks like it's pretty big here too. But I remember it took quite a while, and there's like no save points. Cause then after you go through the outside part, there's also the inside part. And then there's this mountain town, Chizad. That's really nice. This almost reminds me of like Studio Ghibli type of art. It gives it that whimsy look. Actually, I think Chizad is sort of like it's just a mountain town, like an entrance to the cave to Glenvania, because Glenvania is actually a special place. So in the cave you actually have to walk out of the holes and it drops you below. This picture is if you choose the other marry partner to marry. And then Glenvania, which no, it's a castle. Sorry, it's not like a special magical place. It's just another city. And this is actually where your father was king too. So it's like you go back and it's your uncle who's the king now. And I don't think the people like him. I think he's like a pushover. The ordeal cave. So I think they send you on a challenge to prove yourself. Maybe. I want to say. Trying to figure out the puzzle here. Is that a metal slime? And so, yeah, it's a pretty strong boss in this tower. It's kind of confusing too, because you gotta like drop below certain spots. She's pissed. I like how it'll show like different marriage candidate on certain pages, because you have the option to choose one or the other. And so this looks like a summary of what's happened so far. Now we're in a different chapter now, because more time passes by once again. And so we have Super Saiyan Goten. These are like Dragon Ball Z shoes. So these are actually your children. Back to Glenvania. Then Telpador. Sea Temple. So now you actually go to that magic city that I mentioned earlier. You manage to find this sea temple and you have to go through it. And there's a special entrance. You have to give the rings to these statues. 11. I want to say this is the magic city I was referring to. Maybe. Maybe not. But that's really nice. And I want to say that 11 is where your mother is from. A key to a door. Look at that key. Tower of the Sky. So, I think this is, you go to the top to get something that you need so that you can actually go into the sky. Or the Tower of the Sky used to be in the sky. I can't remember. But you're with your kids now. T-Loco Cave. Okay, I remember writing the cards. Now, this is actually pretty fun on the PS2. Sky Castle C, so now you actually do go up into the sky. I think at the sky tower you get a staff, which then allows you to go up here. And this is the one guy that's still up in the sky castle. Sorry, I'm really bad at recalling everything that's taken place. The Maze Forest, I don't remember this. Look, someone drew in this. I didn't realize. There's handwriting in this book. There's probably a Japanese kid that did that. Okay, so you go back to the fairyland, to the land of the fairies, to get this horn here. Okay, I think I'm starting to remember this actually. The fairy castle. save the futures with this orb here. Okay, I'm starting to remember it. So you go back to previous places that you've been to. So it's showing all the places we've been to already. Emblem Cave. I don't think I remember this either, but I do remember these puzzles. I just don't remember what you had to do here. Tower of Bauble. That's pretty cool seeing that pixel art. Yeah, I think this is just where one of the main bosses is at. Clan Temple. There's I think that's the orb again. The Dragon Ball. Okay, so you unlock the dragon after this. So you're able to, instead of sailing, you can just fly. Another world. So I think you actually fly into like a volcano and it takes you to this other place. It's where you go to. It's sort of like the demon world, I guess. I want to say. I think. I don't fully remember. I don't know why I'm not remembering this part of the game very well. But that looks like it's a major boss. They don't want to show you. And so I don't know what this means. Here's the world map here. I'm not sure what this is all about though. Basic command. Maybe it's just explaining the menu systems and all that. Oh, it's explaining your stats and all that. So this was the end of the game, actually, I guess. And that's the final boss. We got some controller action. The battle system explained. Look at that bird. Monster party system, so it's almost like Pokemon where you can catch the monsters and they'll follow you and you can use them for battle. It's actually pretty cool. I don't think that was a feature in Dragon Quest prior to this game, but this is the guy that'll take care of them for you if your party's full. Showing you how to take out multiple enemies, I guess. The world, you can't walk through that. You can't walk through these. You can only walk through these. Showing you the different types of buildings and entrances. locations you encounter across the world that you can traverse through. The town guide, weapons, armor, items, the church, an inn. More of the town guide. I think you could store your items here. Monster. The monster guy. Casino lady, I think, or I forget what the bunny rabbits do. The puff puff. Casino. Dwarf for weapons. Informations, how to get through doors and stuff. Locked keys. The magic carpet. The boats. Walking with your horse and monsters and carriage. The casino, look at that. That's Master Yoshi. That's funny. Some tips on gambling at the slots. I think there's like a monster arena as well. Q&A. I have no idea what the Q&A might be. Probably just general questions you might be wondering about. Looks like there's quite a few questions. Index. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to understand any of that. This almost looks like debugging numbers. So that's pretty much the whole guide. 1992, wow. It's crazy how old this book is. 1996. I wonder if this is a reissue. 1993. I wonder. Maybe it is. Since there wasn't. Oh, there was another Dragon Quest game, but I wonder when that came out. And so this actually has a pull-out map. Okay, so we got the map right there. It tells you the names of the spots. Oh, so if you're looking to catch certain monsters, or maybe these are the bosses actually. I think these are the bosses. Or maybe even if you do want to catch these certain monsters to have in your party, it tells you where to find them. That's pretty good. There's the other guides. I'm surprised it doesn't advertise the Volume 2 guide. I wonder what's in that book. It must be more about the bosses and items. So there it is. I can't close it. Someone wrote something in here. I wonder what that says. I'm gonna see if my phone can translate it. It says, I think it's just referring to items. Dragons. A cloak. My phone can't really translate it. Anyways, so that's the end of the book there. So that was Volume 1 of the Dragon Quest V official guidebook. Hope you enjoyed this,